got a really late start. We're just kind of waiting for, I don't know. So I'm nervous and emotional, so I'm going to be like reading, so just bear with me. Already I'm starting. Sorry. Okay, so anyway, I just want to thank everybody for coming out, and we really couldn't have done this for Edward without everybody's support emotionally, on the webpage, financially, everything. Like, you guys have blown us away, and we couldn't have done it without you. So I appreciate you guys coming out. Obviously, this wasn't what we thought today would be, but here we are, and I know that he is looking down on us, and he is so blown away by everybody being here, and I know his head is like as large as all the clouds right now. So I just want to make a few announcements. We do have raffles going on. We've got Edward's product for sale. We've got Motley Zoo stuff for sale too out in the store, and raffles in there. And all of it benefits Edward's legacy. We have a fund set up for him to help animals that land in their care that have extreme medical needs, whether they have a broken leg, they need amputation, or they have cancer. So Jamie will talk about that later, but I just wanted to say that. So I'm just going to get into, we thought we'd just start with Edward's story from the beginning. Not everybody necessarily knows it from the very start. So he landed in Paw's shelter. I don't know if you guys know Paw's in Linwood, but we work with them very closely. He landed in their shelter as a stray. And they quickly realized he had these little red moles all over his belly, and they didn't know what it was. They did a biopsy, and they realized he had terminal cancer. And had he landed anywhere else, that would have been the end of his journey. But they do everything they can for the animals in their care. And Edward charmed the pants off everybody. So they reached out to Motley Zoo. We worked very, very closely with Paws. And they said, this is not a normal case you would take, but we want him to be able to pass away loved and in a home. And would you take him? So Jamie got his picture, fell in love immediately. She sent the picture to me. She said, I know this isn't what you normally do, but we all fell in love with him. Would you do it? So I said yes, obviously. And the funny thing was, is before he came to us, we were planning, and we were like, we got to do a bucket list for this kid and see how much we can get done in his life. And our original thought was to let the public take him to go do this or take him to go do that, because he was so well behaved. And no, he was not.
In the shelter he was.
In the shelter he was. It was a scam. It was a ploy to get out of there.
By himself.
He came to Janie a few days because I actually had a dog in my care that we were waiting to be adopted, and so he was Janie for a little bit. And she tried to take him on a hike, and he tried to kill every big dog that walked by him. He, no questions asked, he just goes right in for it. And then we were like, we got to replan this idea. We can't send him out with just the public. So we decided, we would be the ones taking him on bucket list adventures, but we thought of the Flat Edward idea so that everybody could participate. And it actually worked out really well because he has fans all over the world. So they get to take him everywhere. And so that's kind of how it all started. And when he got into my care, we took him to Dr. Sargo. She's a veterinary oncology center in Renton. She's the best in Washington State. She's amazing. And we knew he was terminal. I've fostered since 2006. I've had maybe 75 fosters. I've been doing this a long time. And I was like, I've got this. I'm good. I've had fosters pass in my care before. But when we got that report from Dr. Sargo, and she said, man, he's got pretty much the worst of the worst. It was really hard to see it written in writing, like he's got 4 to 6 weeks to live, and that was on October 2nd. But she's great. She just refocused our energy on trying to get a treatment plan that would be great for him. And I just want to talk about canine chemo really quick because there's a lot of misconceptions. We've had some hate mail about it. They don't understand. They visualize canine chemo as the same way it works in humans, and it's not the case. Humans can consent to care, and they can consent to what they're doing, and it's painful for humans. Cancer is very painful. The chemo process is painful. But in dogs, they can't consent to that care. So obviously, their quality of life is 100% a priority at all times. So when they give them chemo, it's a very small amount. They don't give it to like the way they do humans. And so because it's such a small amount and they really tailor it to the dog, they usually don't have side effects. And Edward was exactly that. You would have had no idea. He'd come home from chemo, and also I should say, it's usually given to him in a form of a pill or an injection. So he's not, locked up to all this stuff and whatever. He goes to the oncology center, he plays all day long, he gets a pill, they monitor him, he comes home, and he plays all day long. So
we thought he was special.
yeah, so he was so naughty at the oncology center. He was not allowed to be in like the main room where the dogs are, and they would stay in kennels and this and that as they would go in and out of treatment. He was so naughty. He had to stay in Dr. Sarbo's office with all the ladies, and so he got one-on-one special care. And I just thought they did that because they loved him, and they do love him. But then one of the girls was like, "No, he's so naughty." So anyway, so we loved the girls there. He would be so excited to go to chemo. I mean, like, who's excited to go to chemo? Edward. So anyway, so he started treatment. It took it like a champ. I mean, you would never have known he was sick, and we would often forget he was sick. And the great thing about him is, damn if he didn't love life to absolutely, like, he was full throttle in every moment of his day. And he just was like, I'm here now. I may not be here tomorrow, but I'm here right now, and this is where we are, like, we need to live in the moment. So for us, you would think it would be such a sad thing, like, we're just doing these bucket adventures with this dying dog, but it wasn't even like that. It was like, we're just getting together for once with no other agenda than to just like enjoy ourselves. And so he really taught us a lot. I mean, usually when we're all together, we're doing rescue work and we're busy and we don't actually like get together on a personal level, but he gave that to us and we would be able to get together on a personal level. So he did great. We had he struggled a little bit with his white blood cell count. That's because his cancer was in his bone marrow. But every time we were like, I don't know, can he really make it to Thanksgiving? Yes, he can. Can he really make it to Christmas? Oh, sure he can. And so then after Christmas, we had a scare. His white blood cell count just was struggling and not coming back, and he can't get chemo without good white blood cell count. We gave him our only option, which is this one type of chemo that you can give them safely when they have a low white blood cell count. And if it works, great. If not, we're out of options. So the same day I found that news, and I had, by the way, been planning to take him to the beach all this time. But you know how life is. You're busy. You think, I'll do it. And we kind of got a little cocky with how well he was doing. Like, he may just be a ruse. Like, he may not be sick. This is all a joke. So anyway, the same day I found out that news that we didn't know if he was going to be able to continue on, my boss set me down and said, you have saved up too much sick time and vacation and you have to go somewhere. Like, go on vacation. By the end of this month, you have to go. So obviously the universe was screaming, like, you need to go on this beach trip. You've been promising him. So we did, and I didn't know. I was like, Edward, you gotta rally, buddy. Like, you just gotta make it through these next couple weeks so that we can go to the beach. And he said, okay, and he did. His white blood cell count came back up. We were able to give him the chemo. We went to the beach. He had the best time. He chased birds. He chased his brother. He barked at everything. And whenever I would force him to slow down and rest and warm up in the cabin, he would just stare out on the ocean for hours. Like, it was his favorite place. And I was like, you know what, buddy, that's all I wanted. Like, this is what I wanted with him. So we got that. Came back, he was able to start a new type of chemo. He kind of rocked it around for a little while, and then we got the news that the chemo was no longer effective, and his white, it just took over. So it was still so crazy and insane because even in the moment when she's telling me this, he's rock and roll. Like, he's ready to go. Absolutely the best energy, totally happy. He's never suffered through this process ever. So it's really hard to hear. And we were like, well, okay, so we're stopping treatment, but we got to have like a lot more time together, right? And no, we didn't get the time we thought we'd have with him, but he slowed down. Monday was the first day. I mean, even Sunday when we had the adoption here, he was great, and he was able to enjoy himself, and everybody that he loved the most was in one room together for him, and boy, did he think he was special. He was looking around the room like,
like posing.
He was posing, he's crazy. So the very next day, I'm like, what is going on? He just went from 60 to 10 in a day. And I was on the phone with the vet nonstop this entire week, calling her for everything. We changed his meds around, we kind of monitored him, and we're like, if he just wants to slow down, he just wants to slow down, like that's okay. And it was okay. And we made a plan with Jamie and Jen and I. He was not alone for a second all week because I didn't want something to happen while I was at work or whatever. So he had the best time with his lady, so sweet. And just so sweet and in the snuggle mode, not causing trouble. And we tried to cherish that as best we can. It all went very quickly. Thursday I picked him up from Jamie's, went home, tried to get everybody settled. Very quickly he went in a bad place. And I rushed him to the vet. I'm on the phone with Jamie. She's like, but it's not time. It's not time. And I'm like, I know, but I don't know. And it was time. And he told us. He was the sweetest thing. They rushed out of bed in the middle of the night to come with him. And while I was waiting for them, I would sit there and I would read the messages that you guys left on his Facebook page to him. And I know he was listening. He was alert enough and looking at me, looking at me.
Yeah, he kept staring.
He just kept looking, and he was just like, it's my time. And it was our job this whole time to listen. So we listened, even though we didn't want to. And he passed very peacefully. He was in my arms, and he had Jamie to one side and Auntie Jen to the other side, and there it was. And so, yeah, I don't know what else to say about it, but to know Edward, for those who had the pleasure of meeting him in person, he's the most amazing dog. We have Molly's just rescued like 1,200 dogs. We've had so many, not dogs, but cats and dogs, and we've had so many animals come in and out of our lives. There's never been an animal like Edward. Sometimes Jamie would have a shitty day, and she would say, bring Edward to me, I need to smell him. I would up with her, and she would just hold him and smell him, because everything that he was just beautiful. And so he would be so proud that everybody's here. And some people have asked, are we going to keep his page open? And I just want to say we are. We're going to continue his legacy. And Jamie's going to explain a little bit more about his fund that we're setting up. But yeah, so there it is. So I'll pass it over to Jamie.